Welcome to Uncle Jimmy's podcast. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the conversation.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Uncle Jimmy's podcast, episode 6. I just want to give a quick second to thank all you guys that have been listening and supporting me, sending me texts, emails, calls. I truly do. I appreciate every one of you. I hope you guys like what I'm doing. You can follow us and hear us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Podcast Index, Listen Notes, Cast-O-Matic, CastBox, Castro, Fountain, Overcast, Pocket Cast, Podcast Addict, Podcast Guru, Podverse, and at True Fans. And wherever else you can stream podcasts, at Uncle Jimmy's Podcast is there and streaming. I want to give a big thank you to Ferg's Custom Cards, the sponsor of the show. Go and follow him on Facebook or Instagram at Ferg's Custom Cards. He can make you a card for any occasion, for your kids, for your favorite athlete, favorite actor, anything you can think of. Just get in touch with him. Go reach out to him at Ferg's Custom Cards. I'd like to start off by saying, peace is always the way. No war. War doesn't solve anything. It just creates more issues for everyone involved. Right now we have 2 wars going on in the world. We have the Russians in Ukraine, and we also have the Palestinians and Israelis. Over in Israel and Palestine, the big problem is a 2-state solution, and where the Palestinians would have their land and the Israelis would have theirs. And that's the only thing that's going to solve that problem over there is a 2-state solution, and all sides need to come together and agree that a 2-state solution is the best for peace, and that's what is needed in that region. According to the Gaza Health Ministry and Israeli Ministry of Foreign Affairs, as of July 30th, 2025, there's been over 62,700 people killed in the Palestinian-Israeli war. 60,785 Palestinians and 1,983 Israelis. A study by the Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights verified fatalities from 3 independent sources. They found that 70% of the Palestinians killed in residential buildings or similar housing were women and children. 70% of the fatalities were women and children. You heard that. For me, the big conflict here is Hamas, which is a terror wing of the Iranians. They came into power and they never left. And they've done a lot of damage to the Palestinians and to the Israelis. A 2-state solution is the only way to go forward here with the Israelis and Palestinians. You need to, and also with Hamas, you need to cut the head off the snake and start fresh and have the Palestinians actually lead the Palestine. Not Hamas, no terror groups, just regular people, regular Palestinians, because the Palestinians love their country, and Hamas is just, like I said, a terror wing that of the Iranians, a proxy that just came in and took power, won actually an election, and have just fought with the Israelis since they've been there. Then up next, I'm going to get into quickly the Russia and Ukrainian war, because it's going to get into the Russians who you can't trust and who are just doing what they can over there, day in and day out, bombing Ukraine. But the Ukrainians are strong-willed people, and they're fighting back, trying to save their country, night in and night out. The Russian military deaths are at about 250,000, and total casualties, including the wounded, at over 950,000 for the Russians. Ukraine has suffered very high losses as well, with between 60,000 and 100,000 personnel killed, and total casualties reaching approximately 400,000 people. That's almost 1.5 million people, Russians and Ukrainians, killed. It all started when Russia illegally annexed Crimea on March 18th in 2014. where they went in and they took the Crimean Peninsula. So they annexed the Crimea in 2014, and then February 24th, 2022, Russia launched a military invasion of Ukraine in a steep escalation of the war. What I'm going to talk about is weak leadership from the United States leader, President Trump. I don't know how you guys feel about him, or I'm not anti-Trump. I'm American. I love America. I don't want to see the president fail, because if he fails, we fail. But, when he won the election, I wanted to give him a chance, give him a shot, but 6 months in, it's just blunder after blunder with him. Failures every day. It's getting tough to watch, tough to see, and we need to right the ship and do the right thing. With a strong leader comes great responsibility. They should be, as the most powerful country in the world, leading on these foreign leaders to make peace, to get peace done, not just for mankind, but for the Palestinians, for the Israelis, for the Russians, for the Ukrainians, because war is not the answer. I don't know if you've heard recently on Thursday, the former president Medvedev of Russia said Trump should remember that Moscow still possesses Soviet-era nuclear strike capabilities of last resort. And then Trump told Medvedev to watch his words. Then Trump took to Truth Social and said, based on the highly provocative statements of the former president of Russia, Dmitry Medvedev, I don't even know if that's how you say it, who is now the deputy chairman of the Security Council of the Russian Federation, I have ordered 2 nuclear submarines to be positioned in the appropriate regions, just in case these foolish and inflammatory statements are more than just that. Words are very important, can often lead to unintended consequences. I hope this will not be one of those instances. Thank you for your attention to this matter. It's like he's shooting an email, thank you for your attention to this matter. And it's like, yeah, let me just tell them I'm placing 2 nuclear submarines over there. It's just childish on the president's part too. It's more like, oh, let me tell them we got 2 submarines over there, nuclear powered. And what people need to understand is that Trump can say, oh, there's nuclear powers over there. It's nothing like telling the enemy the war plan. But the United States already has nuclear-powered submarines that are deployed and capable of striking Russia. So to go out and say that, it's like, I'm taking my ball and going home. Trump needs to come out and stand strong. Enough with the foolish Truth Social. Enough with the social media. Get out and about. Get in front of these things. String together 2 or 3 sentences that sound right, that are right, It's just he has nothing else going on but opening a new golf course in Scotland while on presidential business a couple days ago. It's just driving me crazy that as president, he's not focused on what he should be. There's a lot of past presidents that had to deal with Russia, and they've done okay. I think it was Nixon who said you can't trust Russia. And here's some words from Nixon talking about that.
Mr. President, can we trust the Russians?
Well, I recall talking to Manuel Brosio, the former Secretary General of NATO, a great Italian diplomat who served 6 years in Moscow before he came to the United States. And he told me in the late 60s, before I became president, very, very vigorously, when many Europeans were clamoring for détente, he said, I know the Russians. They are liars. They are great actors. They are cheaters. And they lie and they act because they consider it's their duty to do so. He says, you cannot trust them. Now, having said that, however, he did not go on to say that you should not deal with them. And my answer to this whole proposal or question as to whether or not the Russians can be trusted is very simply only if we make agreements which are in their interest to keep, self-enforcing agreements, and only if everything we do with them positively is linked to something else which will cost them if they break the agreement. but you can't trust them on the basis that, well, we're sincere and they're sincere. That is totally irrelevant where the Russians are concerned.
You heard Nixon there describing them as liars, great actors, cheaters. It's their duty to do so, that you can't trust them. Nowhere in this process can they be trusted, or have they been up front. And then with Trump, they've just been playing him like a fiddle. We all forget it was about 7 months ago, and while on the campaign trail, Trump kept telling everybody he's going to end this war on day one. He's going to end the war on day one. Well, here we are, and it's still not over. It's only intensifying. More deaths, more destruction.
I will prevent, and very easily, World War III, very easily. Before I even arrive at the Oval Office, I will have the disastrous war between Russia and Ukraine settled. It will be settled quickly.
Before I arrive at the Oval Office, I will have it quickly settled. We're still here. It's being drawn out and dragged out every day. It's only getting worse. The Russians are stepping up. They're bombing more, sending more people to the front lines. It's getting worse day by day by day. Russian President Vladimir Putin has voiced hopes for further peace talks with Ukraine, but stressed his troops were advancing on the front line despite the threat of looming U.S. sanctions if a ceasefire was not agreed upon. Putin said all disappointments arise from inflated expectations, in an apparent reference to Trump's disappointment with the Russian leader for not bringing an end to the war. On July 28th, 2025, gave Putin 10 to 12 days to get a peace treaty with Ukraine. He threatened further sanctions upon Russia if one is not reached. People, Putin is slippery. He worked as a KGB foreign intelligence officer for 16 years, rising to the rank of lieutenant colonel. He also was part of the FSB, the Russian Armed Forces. He was also the Supreme Commander-in-Chief, and he's been in the Second Chechen War, Russo-Georgian War, the Russo-Ukrainian War, the Syrian Civil War, and the Central African Republic Civil War. Again, he's not one that can be trusted. Trump has been on the phone with him many times. Trump has talked about it, and nothing. Still, he's just giving Trump lip service, and he's not doing anything about it. Trump's just sitting back and letting him unleash, as I believe as Trump's letting Bibi over in Israel unleash on the Palestinians. Here's a little clip of Trump talking about a call with Russian President Vladimir Putin.
I speak to him a lot about getting this thing done. And I always hang up and say, well, that was a nice phone call. And then missiles are launched into Kiev or some other city. And I said, it's strange. And after that happens 3 or 4 times, you say, the talk doesn't mean anything. My conversations with him are always very pleasant. I say, isn't that a very lovely conversation? And then the missiles go off that night. I go home, I tell the First Lady, I spoke to Vladimir today. We had a wonderful conversation. She said, oh, really? Another city was just hit. So it's like, look, he's, I don't want to say he's an assassin, but he's a tough guy.
As you can see and hear, Trump said he's not an assassin. He also goes in and says it's a nice phone call. Very pleasant. Lovely, wonderful conversations, but the talks mean nothing. Even his wife, Melania, told him, they just dropped bombs. And Trump has no clue, no friggin' clue about what it is and what it takes to be president of the United States of America. You're talking to someone who's unleashing hell on an ally in Ukraine. And he's calling it a wonderful conversation, very pleasant, lovely. And then Putin gives the orders to launch missiles into Kiev and just cause total destruction. I mean, I don't know how far you can have your head up your ass, but this seems to be another point where Trump has his head so far up his ass. I'm just going to show you on two different things recently where Trump just has his head so far up his ass. One's going to be talking about the ballroom at the White House that they've wanted for 150 years, and he's going to use his own money, which we all know.
A bullshit? A bullshit?
So here's the example of Trump having his head so far up his ass. Let me know what you think.
Whatever, but it's about 200 million. So we've been planning it for a long time. They've wanted a ballroom at the White House for more than 150 years, but there's never been a president that was good at ballrooms. I'm really good. In fact, I looked at one that we just built in Turnberry in Scotland, and it's incredible. We're good at building. I'm good at building things, and we'll get it built quickly and on time. It'll be beautiful, top of the line. We've retained the best architects and engineers, everything else. It'll be built over on the east side, and it will be beautiful. It'll be views of the Washington Monument. It won't interfere with the current building. It'll be near it, but not touching it, and pays total respect to the existing building, which I'm the biggest fan of. It's my favorite place. I love.
There you have it. There's never been a president that's good at ballrooms. I'm real good. I'm good at building things. Top of the line. Best architects, best engineers, beautiful. He has such the vocabulary of a 4-year-old. But have you noticed everything he does? It's the best. The best architects, the best engineers. He's the best president ever. For a guy that wants to make America great again, he is a billionaire. There's nothing that he can do or say to me as a working class American that's going to change my mind that he gives a fuck about you or I or anyone that's not in his bracket. Look no further than the big beautiful bill. What it does gives breaks to corporations, not to the workers. No tax on overtime, no tax on tips. There's so many small little things in there, people left out, people left behind. Trump doesn't give a fuck about you or I. He truly doesn't. Trump only gives a fuck about himself. I'm sorry to say that, but that's the reality of it all. And here's another clip. You can hear what he says, and I'll discuss it after. It's just how much further can his head go up his ass? How much further?
Sports fans have been very supportive to go back to the original names of Cleveland Indians, the Washington Redskins.
Oh, I love that. I love the sound of that.
Well,
I do the Washington Redskins. I think they should do it. I told the mayor and I told people that they should bring back the name. If they bring back the name, you'll have a lot of excitement. And, I mean, Cleveland Indians, how about that? That was an original franchise.
You're talking about fucking sports franchises. The names of teams. Who gives a fuck? Another way of, baseball names, baseball teams' names, football teams' names. There's guys that play. The owners, billionaires. Players, millionaires. Again, who gives a fuck about that? President Trump. Who gives a fuck about a name, a sports name? Let's get into some real things. Let's get into the opioid epidemic. Let's get into homelessness in America. Let's get into topics that really matter to the people, to the voters. Veterans. Let's do the right thing. Stop worrying about fucking ballrooms and sports teams. Enough is enough. Stop being presidential. I don't know how many more things he can hawk. Bibles, books, sneakers, everything and anything you can think of. Cologne. At one point in time, you're selling Trump water, steaks. Like, what else more can he sell? He's selling America right down the drain. Listen to what President Obama had to say about Trump and what he's up to.
When he's not complaining, he's trying to sell you stuff. Have you noticed that? Who does that? You're running for president and you're hawking merchandise. Gold sneakers, $100,000 watch, Supposed to be Swiss watch, he says. The best watch. Why are you selling the watch? What are you doing? My favorite is the Trump Bible. True story. True story. I mean, it's embossed with his name right on it. Donald Trump edition, right next to Matthew and Luke. Donald. And I'll give you one guess where those Bibles are made. He's Mr. Tough Guy on China, except when it comes to making a few bucks.
Trump has sold Bibles, the God Bless the USA Bible, sneakers and apparel, various types of footwear, including Never Surrender high tops for $399 and gold low top sneakers priced at $499. Fragrances, Victory 47, $249. Trump earned $2.5 million in royalties from shoes and fragrances in 2024 alone. Books, digital trading cards and NFTs, watches and jewelry, guitars, a line of Trump-branded electric and acoustic guitars, including an autographed American Eagle model, has been sold for prices ranging from $1,000 to $11,500. He's made over $1 million in royalties from guitars in 2024. Real estate. Trump launched 168 products to profit off the presidential transition period. Absolutely wild. The man will sell anything. He'll probably sell you his firstborn if you have enough money. But what I'm getting at here is the lack of leadership, the lack of a leader. We're going to go back now and discuss some former leaders of the United States of America, and you can hear them, you can hear their passion in their voice, and they're not selling you anything or hawking you anything. First up, we're going to listen to some words from JFK.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. I pledge you that we shall neither commit nor provoke aggression, that we shall neither flee nor invoke the threat of force, that we shall never negotiate out of fear, and we shall never fear to negotiate. Terror is not a new weapon. Throughout history, it has been used by those who could not prevail either by persuasion or example. But inevitably they fail, either because men are not afraid to die for a life worth living, or because the terrorists themselves came to realize that free men cannot be frightened by threats, and that aggression would meet its own response. And it is in the light of that history that every nation today should know, be he friend or foe, that the United States has both the will and the weapons to join free men in standing up to their responsibilities.
You know, as you heard JFK there, one of his most famous ones was, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. You know, ways to give back, ways to do things to help out your country. You know, Trump's slogan should be, ask not what you can buy from the store, but what you can buy from me. Next, we're going to talk about a very powerful speech, and you're going to hear it. Reagan's Tear Down the Wall speech was significant for its powerful rhetoric. It challenged Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev to dismantle the Berlin Wall, symbolizing the Cold War's division. The speech is credited with inspiring calls for freedom and ultimately contributing to the fall of the Berlin Wall. The speech is widely seen as a pivotal moment in the end of the Cold War, solidifying the desire for a united Germany and a free Europe. To me, this is what a leader sounds like. This is what the leader of the free world should sound like and should act like.
Behind me stands a wall that encircles the free sectors of this city, part of a vast system of barriers that divides the entire continent of Europe. General Secretary Gorbachev, if you seek peace, if you seek prosperity for the Soviet Union and Eastern Europe, if you seek liberalization, come here to this gate. Mr. Gorbachev, open this gate. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
That speech was given on June 12th, 1987, near the Brandenburg Gates in West Berlin. The speech's words were amplified to both sides of the Berlin Wall, reaching East and West Germans alike, and was delivered in the presence of Allied powers and other dignitaries. It was an absolute powerful moment. What a true leader should be. What a true leader of the free world should be saying and how they should be acting. Just demanding, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down that wall. Unbelievable words. Unbelievable speech. Just loved it. That's what a leader is. That's what someone in the position as President of the United States, President of the free world, leader of the free world should be saying. Up next, we're going to talk about another powerful former president who I believe was unbelievable. The only thing he was guilty of trying to sell us was hope. In 8 years as president, the only controversy he had was wearing a tan suit. It was none other than President Barack Obama. I had the absolute pleasure of meeting him twice. I met him when in 2004 at the convention in a room full of dignitaries and politicians and media, and I got some brief time with him, and I can tell you, shook my hand, we talked briefly, and he made me feel like it was just him and I in that room. Just his presence that he has, his voice, the way he talks, and the way he interacts, you can tell he really cares. I had the pleasure of meeting him twice, and both times I met him, I felt that way. Powerful man, powerful words, great speaker, and just a great president, I think. And here he is at the DNC in 2004. Listen to what he has to say. This is what a powerful leader sounds like to me.
Now, even as we speak, there are those who are preparing to divide us. The spin masters, the negative ad peddlers, who embrace the politics of anything goes. Well, I say to them tonight, there is not a liberal America and a conservative America. There is the United States of America. There is not a black America and a white America and Latino America and Asian America. There's the United States of America. The pundits like to slice and dice our country into red states and blue states. Red states for Republicans, blue states for Democrats. But I've got news for them too. We worship an awesome God in the blue states, and we don't like federal agents poking around in our libraries in the red states. We coach Little League in the blue states, and yes, we've got some gay friends in the red states. There are patriots who opposed the war in Iraq, and there are patriots who supported the war in Iraq. We are one people, all of us pledging allegiance to the Stars and Stripes, all of us defending the United States of America.
You can absolutely hear it in his voice. You can hear him in front of that crowd. It was in Boston in 2004. He went on to win the election in 2008, 2012. Him and Biden as vice president. And then you got Trump in 2016. But I think Obama was a great president. He cared. He loved America, loves the Americans, loves us. He did a lot as best as he could. But he's what a president should be. He sounds like a president. He doesn't fumble. He doesn't bumble. He doesn't talk nonsense. He doesn't talk about the rainwater. He doesn't talk about the water coming out of the spigot. He doesn't talk nonsense. He knows the issues. He knows the facts, and he talks about it. He gets it out. But you heard him there. Republicans, Democrats, we're all Americans. It's the same way I feel. We are all Americans. Whether you like Trump, you hate him, or you support him. At the end of the day, he is our president. And again, if he fails, we all fail. But he needs to get his head out of his ass. So up next, I'm going to play you another powerful speech. Probably one of the most powerful ones I've heard from a president. I remember it vividly. A couple days after 9/11, you have George Bush on the rubble. Twin Towers had fallen, and he's standing there with a firefighter and a bullhorn. And what you're going to hear next still shakes me to my core. I get goosebumps when I hear it. So here you go.
I want you all to know, it can't go any louder. I want you all to know that America today is on bended knee in prayer for the people whose lives were lost here, for the workers who work here, for the families who mourn. This nation stands with the good people of New York City and New Jersey and Connecticut as we mourn the loss of thousands of our citizens. I can hear you. I can hear you. The rest of the world hears you. And the people who knock these buildings down will hear all of us soon.
And you heard it there. The people that knock these buildings down will hear from us soon. Just powerful, raw, emotional from President Bush. Just unbelievable speech. He said the nation was on a bended knee, and it was tough times in America at that time. Everybody was scared. Everybody was worried. And then he gets up there on that rubble, the firefighter. He's embracing him. He has his arm around him. And he just lets them know. Those that did this will be hearing from us soon. Just powerful, gripping, unbelievable speech. I remember having tears in my eyes, and then shortly after, he at Yankee Stadium, he threw out the first pitch. He came out of the dugout. He had his bulletproof vest on, but he didn't back down. So in closing, what I was just trying to do was show you some examples of strong presidents and presidents that were up to the task, that had their head in the game, unlike Trump, who has his head so far up his ass with selling bullshit, the big beautiful bill, screwing people on no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, just being a terrible president in my eyes, but a weak leader at that. Another instance where they had a press conference a while back, and they talked about how munitions and ammo and guns were stopped being shipped to Ukraine, and he had no clue. And it was actually Pete Hegseth that did it. And Trump had no clue. So, again, his head's not in the game. He was just in Scotland opening a golf course. He's just out there promoting his shit, and he just focuses on himself. And it's just absurd, absolutely absurd.
The most important asset that a leader can have is to believe deeply in a great cause.
The most important asset a leader can believe in is a great cause. Trump's great cause is unfortunately Trump himself. Trump's cause is Trump himself. It's not America. It's not the middle class. It's not the veterans. It's not you or I. It's himself. Trump only cares about one thing and one thing only, and that is himself. So we're going to be ending the podcast and wrapping it up. I just want to say I'm down here in Tampa, traveling with my girlfriend Jen, and we posted a picture, did a little social experiment at Honeymoon Island down here in Tampa and pointed it up to it. And oh my God, everybody sending congrats and texts and calls. And no, we did not get married. So again, we did not get married. It was fun, and it was just a picture, to be honest. But we're down here in Tampa having a blast. I just want to let everyone know that Teamsters Local 25 members are still on strike against greedy-ass fucking Republic Services in Massachusetts. The strike has continued for over a month now, with the union stating that the company has refused to negotiate on key issues such as fair wage offer and a comprehensive health care plan. They're just stalling Republic Services. The Teamsters posted that solidarity grows stronger every day for the hundreds of Teamsters on strike for fair contract at Republic Services in the greater Boston area and nationwide. They gave a big shout out to Representative Ayanna Pressley, Democrat, Mass. 7th District, and the entire Massachusetts congressional delegation, who sent a letter to Republic Services in support of striking Teamsters. Teamsters fight until we win, and our strike for fair contracts at Republic Services, the second largest waste corporation in the country, will be won. And don't forget, picket lines are still up, and support 450 local 25 Teamsters that are on strike. Picket lines are at 277 Newbury Street in Peabody, 109 Newbury Street in Peabody, 300 Forest Street in Peabody, 5 Lakeland Park Drive in Peabody, 320A Charger Street in Revere, 300 Center Street in Holbrook, 66 Norfolk Ave in Roxbury, and 22 Nightingale Ave in Quincy. If you can't go out, join a picket line and show them that Boston is a union town. It's going to wrap up episode 6 of Uncle Jimmy's podcast about weak leaders and also strong leaders that we've had in the past. I want to give a shout out to Ferg's Custom Cards, who's a sponsor of the show. Go check them out on Instagram and Facebook. And you can check us out on Instagram and Facebook at Uncle Jimmy's Podcast. I appreciate all the love, all the support. Peace and love, peace and love. And I hope you guys have all a great weekend. And hopefully it's sunny and beautiful where you are, like it is here in Tampa. But Tampa is out of control. We'll get into Tampa in a future podcast coming up. We're also going to get into traveling and also about hockey. Growing up in Dorchester, the impact of some people in Dorchester on hockey. And I hope you guys enjoyed episode 6. Peace and love. Peace and love. Uncle Jimmy, out.